Hello everyone, my name is Chris Stanley and this is my PowerPoint presentation on the environmental influences of criminal trends and patterns. Let's jump right into it. So the home environment is one of the most important to look at. The home environment contains a few factors that can have huge effects on the trends and patterns of crime. Parents are the number one role models of children, whether their kids acknowledge them as such or not. The way that parents act, the time they invest in their children, and the amount of discipline they instill in their offspring can have lasting effects throughout their life. Specifically, these factors can directly correlate to their criminality or lack thereof. Negative support, a lack of monitoring, and hostility towards children can explain up to an 11% variance in delinquency. In a nutshell, the way parents treat and care for their children can either push them towards or away from crime. Low-income areas may have a higher pattern and steadier trend of crime as well. The lack of high-value items in these households can encourage family members to commit crime in search of said items. If a family has a budget that allows for fun activities and doesn't need to spend every single penny on bills, kids may stay away from crime because their time is already occupied. Extra income can result in more extracurricular activities as well, which will directly affect trends of criminality. Overall, the rules that are established in households and the way parents interact with and around their children can have an impact on the patterns and trends of crime in the area. If you have a decrease in parenting, you can surely expect an increase in criminal activity. So social environment pretty much encompasses everything you do outside of your home. Social environments can affect the trends and patterns of crime as well. Peer groups such as gangs can influence one another to commit crimes. The emergence of gangs can have a catastrophic effect on the patterns and trends of crime. One issue with gangs is the amount of violent crime that can be associated with these groups. Violent crime increased in a lot of major cities across the U.S. in 2016. This could be a direct result of gangs in the area making power moves against each other, or the emergence of new gangs. Unfortunately, social norms can affect trends and patterns of crime as well. A social norm is considered a regularly accepted act or acts by a certain social group. Norms such as stealing alcohol while in high school or shoplifting clothes because parents won't pay for them are examples of norms for that age group. If businesses began using more anti-theft devices, the result could be a decrease in the amount of clothes or alcohol stolen because those kids won't be willing to take the extra risk. Social media can affect the crime trends as well. Challenges are a new trending idea on social media where a completed task will result in more followers or 5 minutes of fame. Kids today can be challenged to do pretty much anything, and crime is not beneath that bar. Patterns of crime across a town or city can be a direct result of one of these challenges. A while back there was a challenge of people that didn't really accept the American flag, or in some southern states, the Confederate flag that people still fly. Someone would jump out of the car, run up to a house, steal one of those flags off of somebody's front porch or flag post, and jump back into the car and take off, and it'd all be filmed. They'd post it on social media, which is not very smart because theft is a crime. So I'm sure that helped find some of those individuals. The community environment is the next one to look at. Communities and their layout can affect crime trends as well. The defensible space theory holds that the physical layout of a community can have a direct impact on crime trends. Imagine a rundown neighborhood with mainly vacant, deteriorating houses. According to the defensible space theory, demolishing this type of neighborhood for a more upscale neighborhood or a small strip mall with new shops can directly affect crime trends and patterns in the area. Deteriorating conditions in neighborhoods can be a breeding ground for petty crimes. But if these areas are taken down for newer houses or shops, the crime trends in the area could fall. If you can remember the broken windows theory, houses that are run down or abandoned and stuff like that, they're kind of used to having broken windows or graffiti on the front of the house, something like that. If that area is torn down and new houses are put in and more families move in there, people won't be as inclined to break windows or spray graffiti on the front of the house or things along those natures. So, community centers can be a big factor on delinquent crime trends and patterns. In urban areas where crime is more prevalent, community centers can be a way for individuals to spend their time within the law, and establishing these centers can lead to a decrease in crime trends. Outreach from the community leaders, such as religious figures or local politicians, can affect crime trends through outreach programs and open council sessions. Knowing the causation of crimes in the area can open the door to fixing the issues. So the geological environment is exactly what you would imagine it is. So it's like the weather, what's going on outside that day, things along those natures. So as the temperature outside starts to get warmer, two major events are inevitably on the way. Less layers of clothing and children being let out of school. When kids are out of school and bored, they can turn to delinquent behavior. In areas with less activities for these kids to engage in, petty offenses can see a slowly increasing trend. Another aspect of warm weather is the greater potential for rioting. With all the problems and disconnect between citizens and their law enforcement agencies, warm weather brings the risk of more rioting. Poor weather conditions over time, such as a week or two of cloudy, rainy days, can also affect the crime trends in the area. Criminals may be deviant, but rainy days can keep anyone inside rather than being outside committing crime. So back to warm weather. Violent crimes are predominantly viewed as warm weather crimes, so during warmer months, the trend of homicide will more than likely slowly start to increase. Cold weather has the opposite effect on crimes like homicide. Colder weather means that more and more individuals will stay inside instead of going outside and freezing. Contrarily, colder weather can bring higher trends and patterns of break-ins in urban areas. Homeless individuals may find themselves faced with the decision to either illegally enter a dwelling or business or freeze all night long. This can bring an uptick in reported break-ins during colder months of the year. And that is all for that. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it and hope you learned something. Again, this is Chris Stanley. Hope everyone has a good day.